Kalamazoo, you are about to find out with some improvisation and witty banter. You'll have no doubt that, yes, there really is an answer. Kalamazoo.
Good evening, Kalamazoo, and welcome to Yes, There Really Is an Answer, the show that's part game show, part improv theater, part talk show, but all Kalamazoo. I'm Bannon Backus with Crawl Space Theater and Crawl Space Eviction, and I'll be hosting the show tonight. We continue to wish everyone the best, as all of us do the best that we can with what 2020 has offered. And as always, a special thank you to all of the essential workers out there. Obviously, 2020 has been notable for so many important events and worthwhile causes being brought to the forefront. But one thing that's concerned me, and I'm sure I'm not alone, is that one news item has fallen by the wayside. And of course, I'm talking about murder hornets. So what I'd like to do is quickly share a few sensationalistic headlines that I've created and that I encourage any of you watching who have any kind of media presence to share through your outlets so that we can continue to have this magnificent insect in the spotlight where it belongs. So here's the first headline that I encourage you to circulate. Here it is. A murder hornet stole my wife. The frightening encounter had by one Comstock newlywed. Okay, so that might work for you. Here's another one. Murder hornets now nesting in face masks. I don't know, maybe. Here's another one. Murder hornets now being subcontracted for Amazon deliveries. Might work. And then there's this one. Comet Neowise, really giant murder hornet egg. And the last headline that I'm hoping will get some traction, here it is. Carol Baskin scares away murder hornet swarm, saving small southwestern town. And now, without further ado, let's meet tonight's contestants, a couple of people who are always worthy of sensational headlines. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Bannon.
So good to see both of you. We
too.
have on the top right, Judd Gilbert from Family Secret, and I might add the creator of our show's theme song. And bottom right, we have Sara Volmering from Small Victories. And it's so good to see both of them, both returning contestants. And so I'll just want to quickly check in with both of you, see how you've been since the last time we talked. And as usual, I have a question that I'd like to pose to both of you. So start out with you, Judd. How have you been since the last time you were on?
I'm doing okay. I had kind of a scare the other day.
Okay.
My Xbox of 5 years turned off in the middle of the day and never came back on.
And you're here. You're together. You're presenting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I tried everything. I tried taking it apart. Don't tell Microsoft. I tried putting a hair dryer on it because apparently heat activates something.
Oh, so you blew hot. I thought you just set the hair. Okay.
Oh no. I actually used the hair dryer.
Okay. I'm no.
The other one's not as effective.
Okay.
And I did get an air duster to clean it out. So I really just tried, and she just would not come back to me. So here I am, with all the time in the world to watch whatever I want, and I can't even use my television.
You brave man. Have you tried kicking it?
Well, I did try the old Nintendo 64 trick of taking out the CD and blowing on it, but that did not work, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
No, kicking it I could try as the last resort. Yeah, I'll maybe try that tonight.
Oh man. Well, you mentioned movies, and I had this question pre-planned, so I'm not trying to rub salt in your fresh wound.
It's okay.
But the question that I'd like to ask you and Sarah is, what is your favorite summertime movie, Judd?
So I have got to go with Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Favorite movie by default for the summer because of how many times I watched it. I don't know if you remember back a while ago, there were these things called DVDs. And it was one of the few DVDs I owned. So I would just watch it over and over. And it became one of my favorite summertime movies. It's based in Hawaii. There's just a lot of fun, summery feel to it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
And full frontal male nudity to add to that. So.
Gotcha. It has everything.
Everything.
Okay. All the makings of a great summertime classic. All right. Well, I'm sorry for your loss, Judd.
Thank you.
And thank you for pulling yourself together at least long enough to be here with us. And we'll move on to Sarah. Sarah, how have you been? Hi.
I've been good. I've been enjoying the warm weather.
Yeah. Do you enjoy this warm of weather?
I've enjoyed the past few days when it's not been as warm as like last week. If it's like 75 and breezy, that's perfect. So I feel like we got a couple days there that were right in the zone.
Yeah. Well, what is your favorite summertime movie, Sarah? Judd threw me off with his pick, so I don't know what to expect anymore.
So I spent the minute that I had between you asking Judd to think of them, and all of the ones I kept coming up with had snow in them. So I don't know. I don't think that they're really good summertime movies, but I think the one that I'll have to settle on, because it is truly a summer classic, is The Sandlot. I love The Sandlot. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I just love that movie so much.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was going through in my own mind, summertime movies, and I had not thought about that one, but that's perfect.
Yeah. Just because I knew exactly what it was like to be a boy back then. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. But I know there's something so quintessentially summer about it, baseball and tree houses and, I don't know. It just, happy summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seemed like back then, summer seemed to go on forever.
Yeah.
It was like a lifetime. And now, just not so much.
Not so much.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing those awesome thoughts. And of course, our contestants have improv backgrounds. So I'll explain how the game is played in a second here. But part of the way that it's played is not only are they going to have to try to correctly answer each question, but each of these lovely contestants is going to have to try to answer the questions for our game show as a character. And I'm going to allow them to choose their characters right now. And we'll start with you, Judd. I'll give you 3 character choices, and you'll choose one of them. So your first choice is a struggling beat poet, a stockbroker stuck in the 1980s, or a children's magician.
Oh, boy.
Any of those strike your fancy?
Yes. The children's magician definitely strikes
my fancy. The children's magician? Awesome. Okay, so Judd's character is going to be a children's magician. And what do you want the name of your character to be, Judd? A children's magician.
Mr. Hoo-Ha.
Mr. Hoo-Ha. Mr. Hoo-Ha, a children's magician. That's the character that Judd will be playing throughout the show. Awesome. Thank you, Judd. And moving on to Sarah. Here are your 3 choices, Sarah.
Okay.
You could be the world's biggest fan of young adult vampire fiction, a relationship counselor, or an avid deer hunter.
Any
of those sound appealing?
It's hard to choose from these many gifts here.
Good.
Um,
I do aim to please.
I feel like I want to be a big fan of young adult vampire novels.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The world's biggest fan of YA, as they say, young adult vampire novel fiction. Awesome. Awesome. And what is the name of your character, Sarah, who's the world's biggest fan of young adult vampire fiction?
I'm gonna say Penny Margarita.
Penny Margarita. Awesome. So, quick recap. Judd Gilbert is a children's magician whose name is Mr. Hoo-Ha. And Sarah's character is the world's biggest fan of young adult vampire fiction, and her name is Penny Margarita. Awesome. So now that we have that out of the way, I will explain to viewers how our game is played in case it's your first time watching. Each contestant is going to take turns answering questions about Kalamazoo. There will be 6 questions total, each worth 100 points. And we'll end the game with one final question that every contestant is going to answer. And good thing it looks like both of you are sitting down because that question is worth 300 points. Yeah. And after the final question, we're going to see who the winner is, and the contestant with the lowest score will serenade us with a verse from that timeless song, I've Got a Gal in Kalamazoo, in a cappella style. And as part of our program, you, the viewer, are going to have an opportunity to ask these characters any question that you'd like. After each contestant has answered a few questions, we're going to be taking a short break for a Q&A, and Dan Seitzma, who's working behind the scenes, will post any questions that you have. So start commenting with those questions for these characters as soon as possible, and your question might get picked and answered by them later on. So without further ado, let's get into character and begin. Yes, there really is an answer. Welcome to Yes, There Really Is an Answer. I'm your host, Bannon Backus, and so glad that you could join us here tonight. We have our 2 lovely contestants, Mr. Hoo-Ha and Penny Margarita. Mr. Hoo-Ha, you won the coin toss backstage, so we are going to be starting with you. And Mr. Hoo-Ha, how are you?
Oh, Bannon, I'm doing just great. Speaking of coins, do I see something behind that ear of yours, young man? Oh, okay. Scratch that.
Okay.
I'm doing well, Bannon. Thank you.
Good. And I know that this is your busy time of year, so I really appreciate you being here because you have a very interesting occupation. Is that correct, Mr. Hoo-Ha?
I do, Bannon. I sure do. And you know what that is? It's bringing joy to the lives of our most precious resource, the kids.
Oh, kids. Okay.
The kids. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Love the kids.
I understand that you do that through the power of magic.
That's correct. That is correct. Yeah. Now you see it, now you don't kind of deal, you know?
Well, I'm not an entirely unskilled magician because with the snap of my fingers, I'm going to bring up the first question for tonight's show, and it's going to be for you, Mr. Hoo-Ha. There it is. And that question is, what percentage of City of Kalamazoo residents are under the age of 35? 21, 41, or 61%? And yes, Mr. Hoo-Ha, there really is an answer.
Wow. Seems like kind of a trick question. With how many kids I've seen, I would say probably closer to 80.
Oh, yeah. I see where you're going. I get you.
Let's see here. If I were to do the math,
yeah.
Oh. I'm going to go with 41.
41%. And it's a great answer delivered through some great magic by Mr. Hoo-Ha. Nothing wrong with the magic, but there is something wrong with the answer, Mr. Hoo-Ha. The correct answer is 61%. 61% of the residents of the city of Kalamazoo are under the age of 35. All right. Well, it's early on still in the game, Mr. Hoo-Ha, so turn that frown upside down as we move on to our next contestant, Penny Margarita. How's it going, Penny?
I'm good. I'm not usually up this early unless I have to go to school.
Oh, okay. You're a bit of a night owl, are you, Penny?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you making the effort to be up at this relatively early hour. And Penny, tell us something interesting about yourself. I think that you have the honor of being our youngest contestant on Yes, There Really Is an Answer.
I don't like to brag, but I am in the Guinness World Book of Records for reading all of the known vampire fiction in the world before the age of 17.
Wow. That is an incredible amount of work for you to have read, Penny.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a little bit easier because I don't consider any novel before 1999 to be real literature. So I only read post 1999, of which there are many wonderful vampire characters that I emulate, hope to become, and that is my life goal, Bannon. That is my life goal, and I don't care what my dad says about it. Just because he likes to make people laugh and thinks magic is real, it doesn't mean that I can't become a vampire. That's all I'm saying.
Whoa. Am I to understand, and I apologize, maybe my producer didn't tell me, but am I to understand that Mr. Hoo-Ha is your father, Penny?
I mean, we don't live in the same house anymore, but yes.
Hey, girl.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Dad.
All right. Well, thank you for being here once more, Penny. And we're going to move right along here. Take a deep breath, Mr. Hoo-Ha. Here's your first question, Penny. Titus Bronson, the founder of what is now the city of Kalamazoo, was once fined for stealing what type of tree? Do you get out into nature much, Penny?
I like to climb trees really fast.
Okay.
I once tried to have my little sister climb onto my back and hold on like a monkey, but she didn't hold on tight enough, and it didn't work. Let's just say that. I don't know. I fear trees. I fear what trees can become. So I'm on Titus's side with this one. So I think my answer is I'm pro Titus Bronson stealing that tree and chopping it down so that it can't hurt any of the princes of the darkness.
Okay, I think I follow you. And I appreciate your commitment to your hobby. Unfortunately, the answer is not about supporting Titus Bronson, but you will see here in a second that, in fact, the correct answer is cherry. It was a cherry tree. And not to, make you feel uncomfortable in any way, Penny, but in any of your 1999 and newer readings, have you discovered whether or not cherry makes for a good wood for a stake?
Honestly, most of the vampire novels that I have been reading are either set in Eastern Europe or the Pacific Northwest. And I don't think cherry grows in either of those environments, so I can safely say cherry is likely not a good solid wood for stakes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Appreciate you sharing that information with our viewing audience. I know they appreciate it. And moving right back to Mr. Hoo-Ha. And actually, before we do that, I'd like to remind our audience to be sure to get those questions in. If you have one for Mr. Hoo-Ha or his estranged daughter, Penny Margarita, I'm sure they'd love to hear them. All right, Mr. Hoo-Ha. And I would ask you to take another quick breath. Everything is going to be okay. Here is your question. It's question number 3, Mr. Hoo-Ha. In 1854, the Michigan Supreme Court sided with the city of Kalamazoo, affirming that a local high school could be funded by blank blank. Correctly fill in the blanks. Have you spent much time in court, Mr. Hoo-Ha?
Thanks, Bannon. I think it wasn't really my fault. Growing up with a magician for a father, Penny. I had to go and teach you that magic really does exist, didn't I? So I'm sorry for that.
Wow.
Good to see you, though.
Wow.
It was a harsh awakening when I realized magic wasn't real after you taught me for years that magic was real. But I can't hold a grudge.
Well, you could have stayed with me instead of going with your mom.
You could have visited, so I think it goes both ways here, Dad.
Well, once you disappear. Am I right?
It's true. You went in that cabinet and you just you vanished.
Did I?
It was a good trick.
Well, we're here now. So to answer your question, Bannon, I do feel bad for leaving.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I feel like we've taken a little bit step forward toward repairing your and your daughter's relationship, and I'm touched by it. I, as a matter of fact, I feel like somebody started to drive a little bit of a stake through my own heart. Well, let's get back to that question, but let's not forget the progress that we've made. I'll repeat it again for you, Mr. Hoo-Ha. In 1854, the Michigan Supreme Court sided with the city of Kalamazoo, affirming that a local high school could be funded by blank blank. Correctly fill in the blanks for me, Mr. Hoo-Ha. Any thoughts? What's going on through your mind here?
I just keep thinking of Penny.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking of Penny. I can't really stop thinking about money and Penny and coins. Maybe bitcoins.
Ooh. You were on the right track. Nicely reasoned out, Mr. Hoo-Ha. And maybe if you had followed that track a little bit further, you would have gotten there. But the correct answer was, in fact, property taxes. Property taxes. But an excellent guess by Mr. Hoo-Ha. All right. Well, before we take a break for our Q&A, we'll recap the scores really quick. Mr. Hoo-Ha, you have a score of 0, and that is, a matter of fact, the same score as Penny Margarita has, also with 0. So we'll see if there are any questions for any of our contestants here. And it looks like the first question comes from Ashley Widrig, and it's for you, Penny. Ashley asks, Penny, how do you get rid of a bad vampire?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's one that every noble author has pondered through the ages, but I don't really think you can get rid of a bad vampire. I think you have to reform him through love. I think you have to show him that he doesn't have to kill your friends and trap you down in his crypt. You can find a way to make it work, and you can become nocturnal, and that way you can have a loving and respectful relationship, and he can stop murdering people. I think that's how so I don't think you can get rid of them. I think you just have to make them better. I don't know. This feels a little odd. And I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah. Penny, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's only vampires who are possible of reforming and becoming better people?
I mean, I think it's anybody can transform themselves into something that they really want to become, Even if someone wanted to apologize for leaving, by way of Vanishing Cabinet 20, well, maybe not 20 years ago. That would be a way long time ago, but it feels like that long. But yeah, I mean, if someone, I guess, apologized and they really meant it, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Mr. Hoo-Ha, if I'm reading between the lines of that young adult novel, so to speak, I'm thinking that maybe Penny is looking for some sort of response from you to that.
Penny, I love you. I love you. I've always loved you.
Dad, really?
I do. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I made you. Remember when you were my assistant?
Yeah, you used to cut me in half, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
One time I got real close to
really doing it.
And
but you didn't.
Mr. Hoo-Ha, you used to cut her in half. Do you think that there's any possibility of you bringing her together again and making Penny whole once more?
I think so. I mean, Penny, I think of you as this hand. I think of me as this hand.
Wow.
Dad.
Oh man, powerful stuff here on Yes, There Really Is an Answer. We'll give a moment to see if there are any more questions for any of our contestants while we let this sink in. Looks like we have another one from Ashley Widrig, loyal viewer that she is. It's for you, Mr. Hoo-Ha. And that question is, Mr. Hoo-Ha, what is your favorite magic trick to do? Good question.
Well, Penny, you may not know this, but my favorite trick to do is I named you after that trick.
You did?
Yeah, so I'll do it right now. Ashley, is there anything behind your ear? I didn't think so.
Wow.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Dad, you've gotten really good.
Thanks.
Wow.
I feel like I've missed so much these past 2 years.
Well,
you're never too old to start over once more. An old game show host mentor of mine once told me that. All right. Well, my guess is that those are probably all of the questions that we have. So that'll allow us to get right back to the game show. But before we do that, I'd like to say to our audience, please support Crawl Space Theater Productions by purchasing e-gift cards through our website. They're a great way to get ready for our live shows and upcoming classes. And as always, following Crawl Space Theater Productions on Facebook is a great way to stay up to date on things like that. So be sure to stay tuned for all that we have to offer and all of the upcoming things that we have in the works. And now, without further ado, let's get back to the second half of Yes, There Really Is an Answer. And we are going to get back to things with question 4. And it's for you, Penny. And there it is. And here it is. Where's Waldo Stadium? The address of Waldo Stadium includes what road, Penny?
Oh gosh. I feel like I really know this answer.
Are you a big sports fan, Penny?
Not at all, but okay, so little confession time. When I was 15, it was a dark time in my life, but one little spot of hope was the vampire series by, I don't feel like I should say it on the air, but I think we all know what it is. And there was a football player at the stadium that looked just like the main character. So I would drive there every day with my learner's permit and by myself. That's not a dig at Dad. That's just, I was independent, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I would drive there every day by myself and I would watch them practice. I knew how to break into the stadium. So I know it's the same as the name of the place. So it's Stadium Drive. Yeah, because I've got that in my phone, like bookmarked. Because I still like to go there,
Okay.
And dream.
Well, I will say that just because you have a memory that's not perfect doesn't mean that that memory isn't perfect. If you get what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying to you, Penny, is that that's the completely wrong answer. But the correct answer is West Michigan Avenue. West Michigan Avenue is the road that is Waldo Stadium's address. But a good guess, Penny, and an interesting look at your early driving record.
Well, as long as the statute of limitation is gone, right, Dad?
All
Can't
right.
do juvie again.
Like,
All right. Okay, Mr. Hoo-Ha, don't get too excited. We're going to need you level-headed because question 5 is all yours. And our own Dana White has brought it up right there. And your question is, Kalamazoo Metro Transit has how many regularly scheduled bus routes? Do you take the bus at all, Mr. Hoo-Ha?
These days, yes, mostly, only, exclusively.
It's a great way to get around.
Yeah, it is. It's been getting harder and harder to lug all my stuff around on the bus with suitcases and you know.
What is your heaviest piece of magical equipment that you have to carry with you, Mr. Hoo-Ha?
Oh, geez. It's a Rubik's Cube about this big.
Wow.
And it's inside the Rubik's Cube is I keep a half gallon of Jack Daniels, and it's very heavy, at least on my way to the shows. And then on the way back, it's lighter. It's so bulky. It's so hard to fit. But it's yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, an old game show mentor of mine once told me that something that's heavier than an oversized hollow Rubik's Cube full of liquor is a guilty conscience. And something tells me that after tonight's show, you're going to notice your load has lightened quite a bit, Mr. Hoo-Ha. But let's get back to question 5, and we'll get an answer from you, Mr. Hoo-Ha. Kalamazoo Metro Transit has how many regularly scheduled bus routes?
Penny, I'm so sorry. Honey, I'm so sorry.
Dad, you don't have to keep apologizing. It's fine. I forgive you. And in fact, I think it sounds like you need an assistant again.
Wow.
Are you offering?
Yeah, I've got a car.
You have a car?
I have a car.
Well,
put the Rubik's Cube in the back trunk. And you can. I'm probably a little too big to fit in the coffin now, but you maybe could saw me in half. We could just get a bigger coffin. I kind of would like that.
Wow.
So Bannon, I'd say 24.
24. As many hours as there are in a day, even though some days it might seem like there's many more. Unfortunately, that is an incorrect answer, Mr. Hoo-Ha. The correct answer is 20, but a fantastic guess. All right. Now, that brings us to our last regular question of the show, and it's for you, Penny. And this is a special question. It's a visual question. The following heavily distorted picture shows something that is located in Kalamazoo, Penny. What is it? And that question will appear here momentarily. And there it is. What do you think you see there, Penny?
I think... Okay, so...
Yeah, talk us through it.
Sometimes I can't always afford... Because of the level of reading that I do, I can't afford to go to a bookstore and buy all of my young adult vampire novels so that I can maintain my world record. So I'm often downtown in Kalamazoo at the library checking out whatever they have to offer, which, because I keep submitting requests for more young adult vampire novels, especially obscure ones now, that I am constantly downtown checking out as many books as I can. So I would say, on my stroll as I'm reading while walking on the sidewalks of Kalamazoo, I've walked past this place so many times.
Okay.
And so, but I've never gone in because I didn't want to go in by myself. But maybe now I can with my dad.
Okay.
But maybe Theo and Stacy's dad?
That's absolutely correct. Of course, it's the downtown location of Theo and Stacy's restaurant, which puts Penny on the board, the first to be on the board with 100 points. Nicely done. Fantastic. All right. So before we go to our final question, the score sits at 0 points for Mr. Hoo-Ha and 100 points for Penny Margarita. But not to fear, Mr. Hoo-Ha, because as we talked about, our last question is worth 300 points. And it's a question that we here at Yes, There Really Is an Answer like to call Kalamazoo, Portage, or blank. Kalamazoo, Portage, or blank. And a special thank you to longtime viewer, longtime contributor, Carl Smith, as he's the one who provided this question. All right. So your question is, which location, Kalamazoo, Portage, or the blank for this episode, Boring, Oregon? Boring, Oregon. Which location, Kalamazoo, Portage, or Boring, Oregon, is the hometown of Bob Amsbury, one of the original members of Walt Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club? And I'll give you a moment to write down your answers, and I'll reread that question really quickly while you do that. Which location, Kalamazoo, Portage, or Boring, Oregon, is the hometown of Bob Amsbury, one of the original members of Walt Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club? And while you're finishing up writing down your answers, I have an important announcement regarding Yes, There Really Is an Answer. We're going to be moving to Thursday nights starting next week. So get ready to see our show a day earlier. Hopefully that will work well for people's summer schedules. And as always, be sure to stay up to date on all things Crawl Space Theater by following Crawl Space Theater Productions on Facebook and by signing up for our email updates by visiting our website. As always, we promise not to spam you. And if this sort of thing has kind of become your thing, be sure to also check out Farmer's Alley for some great online content. And a great way to do that is by checking out Farmer's Alley Facebook page for details. And again, remember, we're switching Yes, There Really Is an Answer to Thursday nights starting next week. So hopefully we will see you there. And now let's check back in with our contestants and see if they have finished writing down their answers. It looks like Penny might be ready, as well as Mr. Hoo-Ha. Awesome. All right. Well, we are going to start with you, Mr. Hoo-Ha, and go ahead and take us through your thought process for your answer.
So this is a hat,
Okay.
a top hat,
Okay. I'll believe you.
and what's behind the top hat?
I don't know. Behind the top hat. A rabbit. Wow. Nicely done, Mr. Hoo-Ha.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Now, of course, I still would like an answer, Mr. Hoo-Ha. That is what you were supposed to be spending your time doing.
Okay. Portage.
Portage. Oh, unfortunately, your answer does not live up to the old two-dimensional rabbit behind the two-dimensional hat trick. The answer is not Portage, which leaves your score, Mr. Hoo-Ha, at 0. And we'll move right along to Penny Margarita. Penny, go ahead and take us through your thought process before you show us your answer.
Okay, so I started working through it thinking about my favorite thing in the world, which is vampires. And so,
Okay.
and then I was thinking about my favorite books, which then were turned into movies, which may have been produced by Disney. I'm not 100% sure. And this guy's from Disney. So I thought, based on its proximity to Forks, Washington, I went with Boring, Oregon.
Oh, fantastic. And your explanation of that was far from boring, Oregon. Penny Margarita, that is absolutely the correct answer for 300 more points, which at the end of the game puts you at a very healthy lead at 400 points to Mr. Hoo-Ha's 0 points, which makes you the winner, Penny Margarita. Congratulations.
Oh my god, I won.
Nicely done. Now, Penny, let's theorize if these 400 points were able to buy you anything in the world, whether it be tangible or intangible, like love, what might you spend those 400 points on, Penny?
Oh, there's so many things that come to mind,
Is
Bannon.
there really? Might there not be one that's perhaps most important to you, Penny?
Well, I feel like I would have answered this differently at the beginning of the game show.
Interesting.
My heart has changed, just like Bella's heart and the 4-book series. And Dad, the thing I would want most in the world is a pile of pancakes from Theo and Stacy's with you. I split it with you.
Wow.
Let's do it.
And flaming cheese. Can we get flaming cheese too,
Flaming
Dad?
cheese.
Too?
Flaming cheese.
Yeah.
Just say the magic word, honey.
Yeah. Kaboom. That's my magic word.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so glad that happened. And you know what? In my experience, and this was told to me by an old game show host mentor of me, always cap off an emotional moment with an a cappella version of a old famous song. And so that's what we're going to have you do right now, Mr. Hoo-Ha. Being that you are the loser of tonight's show, we're going to have you sing a verse from I've Got a Gal in Kalamazoo in a cappella style. Are you ready with the verse that you plan on singing, Mr. Hoo-Ha?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Well, I'm going to count you down, and Penny and I are going to support you by dancing away as if it's the best rendition that we've ever heard. Right, Penny?
Yeah. I can do that.
All right. Here you go, Mr. Hoo-Ha. I'm going to count you down right now. 3, 2, 1. Take it away.
Kalanazoo, what a gal! A real pipperoo. Penny, come back to live with me. I cleaned up your room.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I appreciated those improvised lyrics so much. How did you appreciate them, Penny?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I've run out of room for all of my books at Mom's house, and now I can have a second library at Dad's house now. This is I'm so happy.
Fantastic. And maybe if the liquor keeps out of it, there might be some room for some additional books and an oversized Rubik's Cube. I want to thank all of my contestants, everyone watching, everyone a part of Crawl Space Theater. And please, everyone, be sure to continue to take care of yourselves. We care about you and want you to be well during these times. And remember to help control the bat population. Have your bats spayed or neutered. Good night, and we'll see you on Thursday night next week. Good night, everybody.
Kalamazoo, you are about to find out with some improvisation and witty banter. You'll have no doubt that, yes, there really is an answer. Kalamazoo.